Alright, I think should be good to go. Everything's fine. Last time, the main thing I did on stream was fixing up the wall fall behavior. Basically just rewrote it. Technically it was one of the first things I did, but the other implementation was more expensive and more difficult to debug and less reliable. And the new implementation is more reliable given some constraints, but it's not perfectly reliable. And one particular area in which it runs into issues is when a one-way platform spawns too close to a solid platform. Let me see if I can find an example. For some reason, it happens more frequently in the next level. Maybe it's just because those platforms are larger and more elaborate. But I can just jump around looking for bugs anyway, so you can get there. I still haven't nerfed the early bosses though, which probably I should get to sooner rather than later. Just to get them in a more representative state so I can test them and stuff in their final version rather than their current too hard version. I think, what else did I do? I guess the main thing I did after stream was I finished up the spiders. Before I had them spawning as like blue rats. They didn't have animations. They didn't have any attacks. It was only the wall follow movement. So I just since then I have sort of finished fleshing out that enemy. It's like full behaviors and not just its movement. I think the only thing that might need to touch up, if anything, is its death and like particles on death. But I probably will look at particles more broadly in terms of just refining them a bit. Not the only thing that needs refinement. You can probably notice in this one, the burrowers, projectiles, and certain spikes previously were glowing. But they're not glowing anymore because now they're just under a threshold where things have to be like beyond some, I think it's like the HSV brightness value, in order to be counted as like they should activate glow. Just the threshold parameter basically. And I guess how I'm specifying that seems wrong to where it's like highly dependent on lighting, because that is what causes the in a practical sense, that is what is actually pushing the brightness over 1. So I was trying to set that with, oh, he's in the other pattern. I was trying to set that with a glow map, but I guess I'm just not doing it correctly, or I need to fiddle with something. I don't know. It's possible I could probably also just restrict it to a layer. Anyway, I don't want to talk about wood stuff, so I'm just going to skip ahead there. I'm not going to go all the way through the meadow again. So we're going to change this override from -1 to 3. So yeah, in addition to the spider, worked on mushrooms, worked on lighting as well. These mushrooms aren't giving off light, but other mushrooms are. And there are also some sparkly bushes that I'm sure I'll run into. Yeah, like this, that give off light. There's the spiders in action. So they basically, ooh, I didn't think about the shop. That's something I should make a note about. Let me make that note right now. Spiders can wall follow into shops and other site area. I think I just need to, so that's how they work. If they get over you, they squish against the ground and then just drop at you. I think looks pretty decent. Gives you a fair warning. You know. And I'm not seeing very many instances of, I guess this one is kind of close, but this would still be an acceptable distance for me. See if you can roll any instances of it. Again, we're getting closer and closer to what I would consider a reasonable range. But certain times I was seeing it where, okay, yeah, like this is an example where this is probably too close if we can help it. Because the problem with something like this, or this is a perfect example. This is what I want to get rid of. This is the first thing I'm doing today is we're going to do a secondary pass over the level generation. It's fine if these have to squish together a little bit. I much prefer these squished together versus these squished together. So basically what's going to happen is we're going to do a post pass through, and then we're going to look up and we're going to look down. And if we're super close to the nearest platform, or like a vertical neighbor, and that vertical, especially if that vertical neighbor is solid, we are going to tweak this position. So in this case, we see like, okay, let's just, I might even die. Say we're 1 from the top, but we're 2 from the bottom. It would probably scooch down to like 2.5. Oh, I died. Another thing I want to do today is these chickens. These chickens are, for starters, their behavior is like as dumb as it can possibly be. It's just a complete random wander. Makes no concern for like location on the map, I guess. I think a good option there might be to maybe you can add like a gravity system that like is kind of similar to how the hive works, where I give them 3 waypoints. Say I give them their one-way platform closest to them, and then 1 up and 1 down. So the closest 3 one-way platforms as like their area that they should wander around. We let them wander as much as they want, but if they get out of a certain range of maybe like the midpoint, or like, you know, if they're close, the closest point they're near is beyond some threshold, then we can say instead of doing your full random roll, you need to roll somewhere in the general direction of the point, like the radius you're trying to stay within. And once you're back within that radius, you are free to just be randomly wandering again. And, ooh, this crashed. Interesting. I don't know what that problem is. I'll take a look. I think it's a music thing. Something about how the music ended, it didn't like. Wow, these guys are very unlit. But the other thing I did was I integrated a bunch of new music. You can probably hear it here for the B level. And the other bosses had unique music too, where before I only had one boss track. And I took that opportunity as well, where I integrated a bunch of new music to fix some audio bugs based on hitting that audio crash. In fact, I should make a note of it just in case it's an inconsistent repro. Let's go ahead and capture the repro. Say hit audio crash in woods to be because media woods area layer 5 was not loaded for this source. Also reported this for layer 1 and 6. So yeah, probably some issue there with how I'm transitioning the music. I know that's some degree of like work in progress. I think the capability exists within like the Wise events and such to more gradually shift between the music and more better handle how music is loaded. But I'll have to take a look at that after. That is the other big thing I worked on this past week though, was along with integrating all that new audio, setting up a system to more appropriately, I guess is the right way to say, load audio on demand, where before it basically just loaded all the audio at the beginning. But if you're talking like 10 different boss tracks, 5 different level tracks, that's gonna lead to a gigantic load at the beginning. And on like phone and web and stuff, it gives you just like, you know, a gray screen. Well, on phone, it gives you a gray screen while it's loading all that audio. And it even like it takes so long. It seems like it might have been like it's not loading properly. It's about to crash. And on WebGL or even desktop, because I wasn't actually like hooked into the system of loading the stuff myself, it was still like being loaded in the background using that load on demand type system. And the problem with that was, so I didn't really have a good insight into whether or not it was actually loaded. And what would happen is, if you, like on say WebGL, you just started trying to play the game immediately, you probably will not have downloaded the audio file to your local computer yet. And it will just be silent. If you refresh the page, because like the download finishes and now you start the game again with it already in your local cache, then it works. But it's that first time you either get massive loads or no audio playing at all. Anyway, I jumped around enough. First thing I want to fix here is this. Because of a spider spawns here, this will break the spider. It will see this and it'll get stuck and it won't. I mean, it makes sense that this like could mess up his ability to wall follow. I guess a more perfect implementation of wall follow would let you like go in this direction down and then all the way around the long way and still follow the path all the way through. But you know, this isn't Wall Follow Simulator. I don't necessarily want to spend all my time getting to the most robust version of this behavior when this sort of spawning arrangement is already undesirable. So yeah, in summary, sorry, let me input on music. Finished up that wall follow and did audio stuff offline this past week. Notice a few small bugs there that I will take a look at. But the thing we want to do today is that, like that platform spawning past 2 I just talked about, and then more just like level type fixes, changing the chicken movement behavior, and the spawning, and then adding a replacement for chickens in the wood level, that have a slightly different, slightly more aggressive movement behavior. And then when that's done, just get back to fleshing out woods platforms. So I guess before that I could also add fix mushroom burrow offsets, because I think those are currently messed up. But once the mushrooms are fixed, we can start adding some more woods platforms. I think we got something like 5 right now that are in a really solid state, and then like another 4 or 5 that are in an iffy state, probably need a few tweaks to be proper. And then we want to get to somewhere around 15 in total, to have sufficient variety that, it reduces the odds you notice it's spawning from a limited pool of platforms, and it feels more like fully random. All right. That being said, let's start with the first thing of fixing those platform offsets. So I'm going to go to my project here and search for platform spawner, I thought was the name of the script. We'll close all but this. Zoom in a bunch. I don't want to fiddle with the sort of iterative spawn algorithm that spawns it row by row. Whatever, leave that. It's like kind of arcane, and it's hard to know exactly what's gonna pop out of what you do because there are so many like interdependent parameters, and randomness can obscure potential problems. So what we're gonna do is pass to fix any platforms that ended up too close together. So we will iterate over level dot platform data, I think. Yeah. I think we want the index, so we do a for loop instead of for each. Okay. And we'll add a parameter here. We'll say like something const float k fix check. Fix threshold, we'll say. I guess just trying to think what it should be. I don't know. Say 3. We can mess with this, and then we know we're messing with this specifically. All right. So we can also say this should be length -2, because if like the algorithm is basically check up, there's nothing above the final row. So we can, and by the way, this array is left, right, all the way to the top. So each row has 2 values in this array. So the last 2 values, the top 2 platforms, we don't have to care about. and we don't want to mess with it. And this lets us know that above, we can say this is me, and my above is always going to be I plus 2. Doesn't matter if I'm left or right, as long as we are like sort of continuing the trend, we are fine. And then I guess we also might care about below, because we might be stuck between a rock and a hard place where there just truly is no good place to spawn, and we have to adjust to the best of, what's the word? Suboptimal options. In that case, wherever the player is now, negative 2.3. K min value y. That's what we use. What's the problem? Aren't you happy with this? I think it's just not responsive. I'm gonna try reopening this just because I do actually care about IntelliSense working. Oh, it's stack crashing a bunch of stuff. Whatever. So then we can say below y. Well, no, let's just say below. I is greater than 1. We can get below. And we'll say below solid, or below one way, and below y. If I is greater than 1, we'll get below, which is always I minus 2. And we will override be below one way to be equal to below dot one way. We will override below y equal to below dot y, or position or something, object. Okay. So I think we can probably just trust the default values in cases where it's one way on one way. We don't really care. And I think we care less about above than below. Fix threshold solid above. And then let's have a different value. I actually don't care that much about the solid below scenario. We can also handle it just in case, but it's fine. Okay. So yeah, like I was saying, we only care about this if it's a one way against a solid. So if we can say if platform dot one way and above dot is not one way. That's the first one we care about. And I guess well, we'll just get the delta in here. Well, we need the delta in both cases, so above delta y is above transform position minus platform. Oh, what happened? Unity randomly crashing. I'm not even touching it. To know. That's fine. We'll relaunch it. We're still doing our thing. What was I doing? Above delta y is that minus that. Right. Okay. So, and then if it has to be this and this, and above delta y needs to be less than. Okay. K fixed threshold solid above. And then the other case we care about fixing is platform not one way and not below one way. And oh, I guess we care about a different delta y in this case, so we might as well do this. Because this delta y is if platform minus below y. Here we swap about this for below y. And we check a different threshold. Okay. Now, in this case, we want to nudge this down. I guess by the amount that delta y is less than this threshold. So we would say platform object.transform.position let's save the pos. I think it'll be helpful. Like I have to do 4 dots there. Can get this to one line. Okay. Because now we can say this position is equal to pos plus something. We can say nudge y is equal to this threshold minus delta y. And in this case, it is the same. Except here we go down, here we go up. So I think that'll happen. Let's debug log. Like, just because the changes might be subtle, maybe the numbers aren't big enough. So let's have it announce what it's doing. Say platform I nudged nudge y. All right. Missed a semicolon here. There we go. As you can be happy, it's making a lot of noise, that's for sure. Another missed semicolon. Oh, this is missing an E. See, this is the kind of like dumb waste of time errors you get when IntelliSense is broken for some reason. Okay, built. I don't see any nudging though. Okay, here's some. Platform 5 was nudged negative 1.25. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This seems incorrect. Oh, because it's 0, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if anything, this was not enough. And you can see how this messes up the spiders. This is exactly what I'm trying to stop. So this value is not enough. It needs to be larger. It seems like it happened. It correctly identified a case where it needs to fix it, but it just didn't fix it by a large enough value. So let's try giving it a whole nother thing. Problem is I don't want to nudge too hard because it's already like trying to roughly evenly space platforms, but with some randomness. If I were to nudge everything to be like the value, then it would feel very uniform in oh, I should have been counting. I'm gonna start over. Okay, and this looks like there were no nudges this time. So that means we're gonna jump through this whole level and we should expect to see nothing that's too close. Those bees may be a little bit too aggressive. Like their acquire range is a bit too long, and I think their like charge movement speed is a bit too fast. Let's see how quick these bees get on me. If I'm down here, I'm cool. Oh, chicken, I didn't even see there. But yeah, see like that, like, I don't know. Maybe it's appropriate. They definitely sort of fix the problem I was talking about in the past of needing to generate threat against one-way platforms, despite the fact that all, like, or I guess most enemies originate from the sides. So I think they actually succeed in that. But maybe they succeed too much threat generated, I don't know. No nudges again. Again, this is possible to happen, but I don't think we need to jump through again. Let's just re-roll. Let's try and get some nudges in here. Nothing? Shouldn't increase. I would think increasing the number to 4 would mean more distances are below this, and it should be triggering more often. That doesn't seem to be the case. Am I stupid? Fixed threshold solid above. If this value is less than... It is possible I'm just getting exceptionally lucky. Or unlucky, I guess. Okay, we got one. Platform 9 a little bit, and platform 25 a decent chunk. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It definitely helped. This was a situation we cared about nudging. But it's probably still a little bit too close. We might probably gonna have to go to 4.5. I guess we can check if I pause the game. If I move this down by ooh, that's the background. If I move this down by 0.5, How's that? Probably not. We probably want to go all the way down to 30. Like 38 is when I started to feel comfortable. 38.5 there was still a little bit. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. It's this one. 39. Yeah, 39, no good. 38 is fine. Okay, so we're gonna have to go to 5, I think. There is a limit here, though. We put it up too high, it will start over triggering and potentially. Like, see, this is no good. Was this 25? Are we sure it's being moved down? Okay, let's add some additional logging. I'll put from pos to, and then I can make sure the object actually moved. Well, let's increase stuff 5 and we'll have hopefully more examples. Okay, 7, 21, 29, 23, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nice, this is probably enough space and handled what would be too close. I first stopped counting, but I guess I should be roughly in the 20s now. This was probably a candidate. That's enough space for the spiders to work properly. This is good. This is the closest because it shuts out here, but I think overall this is good. I guess this is an example I can use to double check the whole from to thing, because I can make sure it ends up at the 2, like it actually is the 2 and not the from. Okay, so 121.5. Yep, and it says from 121.79 to 121.5. So we can see that we're at 7.9, getting a little bit close. Looks good. We have one more we can check up at 136. This is pretty spooky. Are you 136 here? Oh, not you. You. Yeah, here's the 136. It was gonna be 138.29. Yeah, this is exactly what we wanted to get rid of. I could probably. I think I want to push my luck up to 6 or 5.5 and see if things start breaking down or if that's just fine. So I think the more breathing room I can get away with, the better. Even at 6, there were no nudges? Wow. Let's reroll. Sometimes you just get lucky. Okay, here you have some nudges. So, platform 1, really. So we have this one right here. That would have been a little bit higher, not much. It seems fine so far. It looks like the vine is still properly targeting their position. But I can double check that's the case. We should review the spawning routine and make sure. I feel like if I am going to keep dragging you further and further away, I should give these spiders a higher acquire distance. You know? Like, I want... The purpose of these spiders is to threaten this platform, so if it's the case that they don't, we can fix that. This one's pretty good. I think 6 here is the right value. I haven't seen any that I'm concerned about an over perspective. I think it's mostly under. I mean, we mostly just threw that in because we're already doing it anyway. Get a distance on these. Yeah, we're good. I'm gonna die. But I haven't seen any problem platforms so far. I think we're good. I'm gonna cross this off and also just be right back really fast. I just gotta pee. Okay. On to the next thing. Make chickens avoid solid platforms, fix bunching. Okay. This is gonna need to be a fix in. I think we're gonna have to pass some information to the chickens after they're spawned. So where are the chicken spawns? Let's search for chicken prefab. Is that anywhere? There it is. We've done it. Global spawn manager. Oh, and it's got a... Oh, this is more robust than I remember it being. This also lets us mess with the distribution of spawns. It makes sense for it to be more top heavy, but it's too top heavy right now. But that too top heaviness may be the result of the fact that their movement is truly random. Because the one thing restricting their movement right now is they have to stay inside a box of the level axis line bounding box here, AABB. And that means once they get to a wall, like half of their rolls, say, will keep them in place, you know what I mean? Like, as an example here, I can say, so here's our level, right? Yeah, I have chicken A here. Chicken A actually has the full degree of movement, and so he can end up here, and up here, he can end up here, he can end up here. But chicken B, say right here, is allowed to roll these directions but won't go anywhere, and these directions don't change his situation. So it's only really, I don't know, barely even these. So it's only really 25% here of his directions that actually like meaningfully change his situation. Most of his other rolls is going to keep him in his same relative position. Where for here it's reversed, right? If we say we split into semicircles, like it would be this way, this way, this way, this way. Only this semicircle puts him back where he was before. Every other semicircle puts him in like a fundamentally new position. But he eventually makes it up to this position. You know, just in the long term. Because once he gets up there, the majority of his direction rolls keep him there. If that makes sense. Anyway. Is that going through? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it is. It is. Anyway. Yeah, so here's what we're going to do here. We're going to see who's calling this. And here it is. And he already knows this platform, so he can pass this platform information to the chicken spawn. And use those platforms to kind of give them a semi-anchor. So I can show. So instead we would have, here's say our level, right? And you have some platforms. Where we'll have like, we'll say this, and this, and this, just like a staircase, right? Where you have for one way that, that, that. And say a chicken that spawns here, I give him these three platforms. I say, chicken, you want to, if you can, stay in this radius or this. It'll be best if they could be connecting, I think. Or this radius. Or you could say even this, or where this chicken has the full degree of motion when he's within one of his anchor points, right? But this chicken is not going to be allowed that. He's going to see that, oh, I am outside one of my bubbles, and I therefore am not going to roll in a random direction. I am only going to roll this direction or this direction. If I'm out of my bubble, I can only move back towards a bubble. And once I make it to a bubble, great. I'll resume my free random 4 directions of movement. But while I'm out of a bubble, all these directions are going to be banned. And so will all these directions. So that does a couple things. First of all, it should keep them away from these, which I don't want them near. These already have, the solid platforms already have their own enemies to worry about. The point of the free flying enemies is to provide more threat to these one-way platforms that otherwise are a lesser threat. And by confining him to this area, I should fix the bunching problem, right? Because It's not that this guy cannot go up this way, right? This direction is all banned. And so is this direction. Within, we keep sort of, it'll force them to keep like roughly an even distribution because they both have like their little windows of places they're allowed to be. And that goes presumably all the way to the top. And I don't even think I'm going to do 3 platforms just because large amounts of distance calculations can be expensive. Also, there are an even number of platforms anyway. So we'll probably just start with 2 platforms. Because then we can also perform a simpler setup like for Squiggle Swiggle. Where that's just this. This is your bubble. We can in fact, I wonder if we can maybe even collapse them all down to just the bubble. Well, no, I don't know. This gets them in here where I don't really want them. We'll see. We'll have to debug, draw the bubbles, and get an idea of how they're controlling movement. Alright, so let's go to implement that. Let's take a look at the movement behaviors on our chicken. In fact, let's go back and look at the wasp who we implemented 2 weeks ago of streaming, I think. And has a similar-ish behavior, right? Where you can chase a target, or you can wander, or you can go back to a circle. So it's similar. It's not exactly the same as this, but it's similar to this. So let's pin this as we might want to reference it. Then let's find our chicken. And I believe he's just using, yeah, like, okay, he's supposed to bounce off the walls. But that's also just a wander, I think. So that's what we're going to replace. So let's find that B enemy controller. See where I put it. And we're going to make a new one. It's called Chicken Enemy Controller. Let's think about this. I believe this is a common interface. Yes, so we have this MVC standing for Movement Controller interface we can implement. And if we do this and we override the appropriate function, which is not going to tell me, I guess, because IntelliSense is broken. I kind of want to restart to fix IntelliSense, but I can try restarting Unity, but that usually doesn't work. We'll give restarting Unity the one try. Fully close out of everything. Okay. Reopen this. So far, it's blue or green, greeny blue. It's telling me what I have to override. I think it fixed it. Lucky. So it's protected, I think, right? Override, void. What do you want me to determine? Movement? Oh, I guess vector 2. Yeah. So yeah, that's the idea. Is you define a component that gives me a vector 2, and any of the plugin sort of movement components can then run with that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're physics, it doesn't matter if you're translation, it doesn't matter if you're doing something dead simple or uber complicated. You give me a vector 2 and you can plug into the rest of the system, which is nice. I definitely have a mix of like kind of appreciation and regret for my common tools components, where some of them, I think like the movement series of components, have been incredibly helpful. And then there's other ones where I imagined they were for a general case. Like that's how I originally conceived of them, but then I actually get to using them in a new instance in a new game here, and they don't really fit the general case like I had hoped they would. And I feel like I'm trying to put a square peg in a round hole type deal, um, where trying to like get this already written piece of code that isn't really a good match, isn't really a great match for what I'm doing, to kind of work is just doing more harm than good than if I were to just write the new custom thing um, that is specific to this game. So I think I definitely will do a pass through my tools system with that in mind. Probably maybe do some heavy calling. I don't know, maybe improve some stuff. Uh, that's been one of the more interesting things about doing a larger project, is seeing like, okay, well, here's a real large project. How well does that stuff hold up? And pretty well in some cases, and not so well in others. Anyway, luckily this is one of the good cases, and we need to determine movement. Okay, so what I want is also a public void or I'll say setup bounds, and I want you to pass, let's say, 2 positions. Anchor 0, anchor 1. Okay. And let's say you keep track of well, let's think things. Let's just assume, so let's not worry about passing in those platforms yet. Let's just assume we get a good anchor 0 and anchor 1. And then we would also have a private constant float of a anchor radius. I don't know. Sure, 4. I don't know where the AI came up with 4, but why not? Start there. Okay. And then we would have 3 possible states, which I think I'm going to split into 2 bools. We can say bool MB within anchor else. And you would also have MB with at anchor 0. So here, when we set up bounds, we want to probably save these anchors. All right, we're good. Oh no, vector 2. Okay, we save our anchors, and then we want to see which anchor we're closer to. So we'll say vector toss2 to do transform.position, and then we say vector2 distance pos2 anchor 0. Call this D0. Call this D1. If D0 is less than D1 and D0 is less than, well, no, we'll deal with these one at a time. So D0 is closer. We check if D0 is less than K anchor radius. We'll say M within anchor is true, and MB at anchor 0 is true. And then do the same with D1. Oh. Okay. And then you can say float lesser is, you can say, I don't like the construction of this. I'm going to fix it. So I can say at anchor 0 is equal to D0 less than D1. And then float lesser is equal to MB at anchor 0, D0 else D1. And then I can just say the within anchor is less than the anchor radius. And then I can say private vector 2. Well, I can actually probably just overload this. Or I can say if I'm at anchor 0, I want to move. I can mean like, I could say target anchor 0 and be target anchor 0. Okay. So first I say if I'm within an anchor, then I can just roll randomly on a timer. I don't want to roll every single frame because that looks like really finicky and bad. If you're not within an anchor though, then your distance, well, I guess you should check if you are within an anchor every so often, not every frame. Let's spread out those distance checks. But let's not leave that to determine movement. Movement is basically just reading the current state of the system. In which case we are going to return target anchor 0. To tar is this. And then you do D is tar minus transformed opposition. I guess you need to get it as pos2. Annoying. Normalized. Just return that. So we also want to keep our wander direction a wander timer and a wander frequency. Here, we also should keep a private const and distance k distance check frequency and distance check timer. That's an example of kind of a thing that didn't work out well. There, in addition to the movement like family of classes, I have a timer family of classes, where the idea is you need timers quite often, and so like maybe it would be nice to abstract that away. Abstract away basically simply an update, ticking something down and then sending off an event when it dies. I don't actually know if it is event-based. Maybe that's the problem with it. Maybe that's why I'm not using it much. Maybe I need to make it more event-based. That's something else I learned in this project. Events are dope, and you should use events for most stuff. Basically, I feel like anytime you would have an object reference, you should just have that object send out an event instead. Okay, what was I doing? I don't know if that's performant. I haven't seen any problems. I guess no, I haven't seen any problems. Anyway, roll randomly on timer. So we say, and I guess this is maybe an example of why it's a little awkward is I don't want the timer just going all the time. Usually, it's usually got a twist. So like, I only want to tick this timer if we're like within the anchor. So I might stop wanting to tick this timer at a moment's notice, and I want to be able to resume it, stuff like that. That like a general timer at the point at which if I were to say have like a pause function, I could say like you can have a pause function and you can have a tick function, but then like what am I actually getting? It's just a wrapper of nothing. Like it's not actually saving me any lines. I'm just calling my dumb little wrapper functions rather than doing the basic math directly. And for what? I don't need like to abstract away the case of plus time equals delta time dot delta time, you know? Alright, so we say, is this a zero-based timer? Yep. And distance check timer. See, it even knows. I didn't even have to type it. I just hit tab. Oh, this is something else, though. This is the wrong timer. We're going to move this to here. And we're going to say vector to target equals target anchor 1, anchor 0, else anchor 1. Okay. And then we say float D equals vector2 distance target or trans. We need pos2. Pos2 target if D is less than K anchor radius. And we say M within anchor is false. And let's just flip the anchor timer, or was it M wander timer is equal to K wander frequency. So it'll fire the very next frame. So yeah, here we say M wander timer plus equals time with delta time if M wander timer is greater than K wander frequency. What do? We set it to 0. Oh wait, we also need to set this to 0. And then we roll a new direction. A random direction inside the unit circle is fine, I think. I don't see any problem. Okay. And we return the wanderer in either case. Alright, I think now we go to passing in these platforms. So yeah, this needs level platform data. Alright, let's go back to what this is called. I forget. Here it is in main level base. So we want this, whatever it is, level chunk. Yeah. So we usually don't need this, we can get this from the other stuff. This can be static, I believe, because you're passing in this. If it had to know its own num chunks, then it couldn't be. But since we have the level anyway and we're passing it to this function, it can just be static. And then main level base here, or not main level base, our global spawn manager here doesn't have to care about this. It can just say platform spawner. And then we say y bounds at y bounds at x, y bounds at x, so at x, y bounds at y. Okay. What is this doing? Okay, like basically nothing. I mean, it's doing something important, but it's not really the relevant thing. Okay, so here we say go. I guess here's the next question. We need a way to get a platform row based on its Y. And I guess we could like just increment all the way through the array until we find it. That seems wasteful. Alternatively, instead of picking this height curve, we could rework this. We don't even have to rework it. It's giving us a t value. So we can take this same t value, but instead apply it to row indices rather than y bounds. Do we need this? Yeah, we still need it, but it's not going to be what we use to get our y. Instead, we don't need this either. We now say spawn t times level dot platform data dot length, I guess. So floor to net. That might leave out the top section, but that's fine. That's something I want to do anyway. And then let's just always thinking if we should always start from the left. I think it's fine. Yeah, I think we should take each like row as a pair and try to avoid biasing the left, but just from the like purpose of this spawning routine, start always with the left, and that would be platform index mod 2 equals 1. That basically just means is odd. So if you're odd, then you actually should go down 1. But if you're even, you can stay what you are. Okay. So now we know it's a row, and we want to use its row to pick anchors. The first case is the easiest. If we can say if level platform data platform, or I guess we can say, let's put these in helpers, we might need them. I think it's going to make it easier. The left one way is equal to, and level platform index, oh, this needs to be like platform data or something. One way. And right one way is the same for platform index plus 1. So first case, easiest case. If left one way and right one way, then your two anchors are left and right. So 0, anchor 1, anchor 0 is equal to, oops, I guess we would want to roll randomly. So 50-50 shot that left is your 0 and 1 is your, or right is your 1. 50-50 shot the other way. Let's also nab the positions. Left pass. Is this dot object or something? Dot transform to position. Okay. So, simplest case, you just have horizontal anchors of left and right. And let's say your start Y position is just the, well, I guess in all cases we can just say Y, we'll just do the average position of the two anchors. Okay, but the next one would be left is one way, which means, and right and not right. And then the third case is right only. You can't have no one way. Okay. So if left is one way, you, in either of these cases, you basically want to check above and below and then pick among those options. And maybe let's to keep it simple to start with, ortho only, consider diagonal. Okay. So I guess there's a special case for 0 and 1. Or there's a special case for, yeah, 0 and 1. So if I is 0, unfortunate, but what can you do? Okay, so above except first row, which always has to allow possibility of diagonal, cause I guess in the example case, this would be diagonal as well. You know what? Let's see if we can. What if we just? Trying to think if there's a way where I can like enumerate all the options in order, like ortho and then diagonal, and then pick from the front. Yeah, I guess we can say above and below are still always +2. It doesn't. Oh wait, no, but I collapsed down to the left, so no, that's not true. So we have to say if it's left one way, then say int above equals e left one way is platform index +2. Otherwise, it's platform index +3. And then we can say is equal to above less than the bounds, which is this. And yeah, oh, it guessed it for me. Sick. And then we have below with minuses. And we, again, bounds check that it is greater than equal to 0. Whoa, I jumped. I didn't mean to. And below is one way. I keep hitting page down by accident. Okay, this goes into a similar pattern, except it's possible that they're both false. But first we can have this, then we can have this, and then we can have this. And we say ortho, this case is ortho. What is this? It's the Risk of Rain soundtrack. I don't know where you actually hear this one. Let's switch it up. The bird screeching pain, huh? I mean, that's a very Risk of Rain thing to say. I guess it's on brand. Here, Donkey Kong 64 seems fine for now. We'll see if it's too monkeyish. Kind of want to play that game. I hope they put it on Virtual Switch. Although I've heard it doesn't hold up like the other N64 games, especially if you're going for completionist, where the whole idea that you have to like go down this specific cave as Diddy Kong or like Lanky Kong or whatever, turns out to be really annoying in practice. Anyway, if above and below are both options, then we can roll either one. I guess I should say we should see vector 2 other pos. In this case, other pos is like below or above, I guess. Yeah, so this is already losing me. Let's switch to Undertale. Oh, I forgot. Undertale has so much, like, 2 second. Yeah, it's Chrono Trigger. Okay. If above is the only option, then we can just like even make this like really short and just say other pos equals. In fact, with us using them so much, we should do the same thing we did here. Where we say vector2 above pos is this. Technically, we might be getting a position in a well, not even technically. We're definitely gonna get one more position than we need to, but like, how expensive could it possibly be to like get a vector 2? Do, 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 do. Um, so here we can just say is above pos. And we don't even need this. We can just say this. And it doesn't really fit. That's fine. Okay, so if we get to this, then we have to check the diagonals. So we have int across above, which if we are left is equal to platform index plus 3. But if we are right, it's equal to platform index plus 2. Yeah. And then we also have across below, which is the same but negative numbers. Wait, is that true? No. If we're left, we only have to go down 1. Yeah, that makes sense. In fact, is this right? If I am left plus 2 or plus 3, if I am left, yeah. It's only the diagonal aspect of it that makes it not be the same. Yep. Okay. And then we have a third layer of this basically. But there's 3 layers as deep as it goes. And this routine probably needs to be like a helper mini component or something. So I can benefit from it in the other guy I'm gonna make. Anyway, above one way. Oh yeah, I guess we still need that. Cross above. Okay. Basically just copy this. I wonder if there's like a recursive way to do it. It almost seems silly. I guess I'm checking slightly different things each time. And then this should not happen. So let's also debug log unexpectedly unable to find adjacent one way from index platform index. But in the show must go on situation, we'll set other pos equal to I guess up here we want to get our anchor base anchor pos, we can say. And we'll just all set them both, you know. So we have something to pass in. But either way, we'll say here we have gotten this doesn't need to be other pos, this can just be anchor 1. And this can be anchor 0. Okay. Now we have 2 valid anchors for every case we expect, and at least 1 valid anchor for a case we don't expect. So what we say then is go just game object, which I get. Oh, it's down here. I see. Well, I guess first we say y is equal to anchor dot y for 0 plus anchor 1 is y, and then times 0.5 to average them together. Okay, so now we have our y position, and then go, we get components. It's like chicken something, and we set up something. Yep, and then we anchor 0, anchor 1. All right, I think that is it. All we need to do now is go to our chickens and remove their old movement behavior. And add this new movement behavior, which is chicken something. Yep, looks good to me. But we have compiler errors, so Unity disagrees. What's up? Oh, we don't need these Y bounds anymore, right? But we still do this. Pass it the level instead, or M level data. Okay, are we good? Dude, I think so. All right. So I know the behavior is taking effect, but I only know it's taking effect because they're doing stupid broken things. What I'm guessing is happening here is, oops, wasn't paying attention, is the distance is too small. So they are never considered to be I'm just wondering if maybe we didn't zero the timer, it would only ever check once and it would never. If the target anchor is incorrect, but it's not. I was gonna say if the target anchor is incorrect, then we would always be like moving towards 0, but never getting out of that because we're always what's the word? Going towards 1 or checking against 1. So I guess this anchor, well, let's just draw some of our on update. We'll say debug, draw a circle. Can't draw a circle? That's so annoying. Can I do that utility debug draws? I think I might have a function for that. Draw? No. I mean, technically you can draw a circle with pi, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'll just draw a line. We draw a box? Is it really only line and ray? That's so annoying. Alright, well, whatever. We say anchor 0, and then anchor 0 plus anchor radius, or whatever it is, I guess, as a y offset. Okay, so draw up and down while you're at it. From your anchor 0 in some color, we'll say cyan. And then we'll do some other color for anchor 1. Magenta is fine. Alright, let's see what these guys... It might be an information overload, come to think about it, if all the chickens are doing it. But if we see cyan and magenta in the same place, then we know they're all falling into that bad, weird case. This even crashed the game. What's wrong? What has happened? Index was outside the bounds of the array. Didn't I check? It has to be less than platform data.linked. How can that possibly be? Before you index it. Oh, I see. I'm indexing it no matter what. I'm only guarding the one-way check. I guess I can just, like, do this. Because I know it won't be used. I have to do that everywhere. So basically just the one-way check also encapsulates the bounds check, and we can say, hey, if you're not one way, just size 0. We're not going to actually care what you are in the grand scheme of things, and that will prevent us from indexing out of range. Let's try again. Okay, we spawned. We're still getting this like spammy type behavior. One thing I've noticed, I'm not seeing any debug drawing. So I think this might not be happening. So yeah, I don't see why this wouldn't be called. Let's just throw a random print in here to verify. Yeah, it's spamming the shit out of it. Where's my debug drawing? Oh, it must... I bet it's all centered around one wrong position, like in Narnia. You know what we can do? We can click on an arbitrary chicken, switch to debug mode, and no, its anchors seem valid. Wait a second, do they? Let me watch this happen. Oh, wait. This says false. This should be true. So I don't see why I don't get my debug lines. Maybe they're just behind the background. That's a possibility. No, still no debug lines. What the heck? Your anchor seems wrong. Well, let's spawn in the platforms. No, his anchor's probably fine. Okay, but here's the other thing that I missed. I want, when you get within the anchor radius, you should flip to the other anchor. So this should give me some movement between the anchors. So that means the next time you get out, like you can still wander when you're in there, but the next time you get out, go to the other place. And I think we just also need to way increase this. Okay, let's see how these chickens move. I mean, let's see it. It does. They are hanging out near their anchors, but it feels like they don't really have any period of like freedom of movement. Did I say 0.4? Anchor radius should be like 6. Why am I not seeing debug? I want to be able to debug draw these freaking circles. Hmm. Apparently I have to enable gizmos to see debug drawing. Yep. See, I feel like 6 seems, you can see it now. And it seems like it should represent like some extreme freedom of movement. So why is that not the case? Maybe, let's make it even clearer here. Maybe they just need a longer reroll duration. Maybe I'm just seeing a sort of a version of the oh, wait a second. What? Did we not? Wow, this was dumb of me. But I was just thinking out loud that maybe 1 second of a reroll duration is too short, such that it leads to just like a less obvious version of the like seizure-y behavior. Okay, yeah, see, this is exactly like the kind of thing I wanted, where these guys have like 2 sort of ranges of safe zone. Maybe it's fine. It does seem like they're getting a little stuck. I guess I'll try giving them a better wander duration. It's like, especially here, what the heck? I guess they're all just going back and forth. This has made it clumpier. I guess maybe I have to allow up and down as equal partners compared to... Yeah, I just... Yeah, this is... I mean, it's better in that they're in the areas I want them to be in, but the overall movement behavior, I would say, is worse. We do have the benefit of we no longer have the, like, disgusting clumps up here of, like, a zillion billion chickens. But all it really did was spread out those clumps by... I think the rules are too strict, and it leads to, like, homogeneity of behavior. I think, actually... If anything, the anchor radius being too lean, the anchor radius being very lenient had the opposite of the intended effect, because it doesn't lead to the movement between things, because it's just always in them. Anyway, let's try significantly increasing the, well, sure, triplet. We gave him less anchor and longer wander timer. Let's see if we get some more wandery behavior. Just a little better. I think having a longer wander timer led to more, you know, there's a little bit less clumpiness among the chickens now, because their random rolls get averaged out less, right? The more random rolls you have, the more they will average into like the same direction, right? So, see, and also, the less distance you have to work with, the more it'll clump together. I'm trying to think what the solution is. Maybe, what if I give them... See, I feel like when the ranges overlap, they're just going to pretty much get stuck in the Venn. Well, what if I significantly increase this? What does it look like? I worry that this will probably just lead to them getting clumped in the Venn diagram between the two anchors based on like the, what's it called? The thing I talked about. Maybe not. Maybe if I increase the distance check threshold as well, like let them get a little bit out of distance before they start moving back, because anything like this is no good, no bueno. Maybe I just want to get... I think this would benefit from a 3... I don't know if this benefits from a 3 anchor system. Maybe this is like appropriate movement behavior, but there just needs to be fewer chickens. I don't think that's true. I decided against it right when I said it. Because you can see the guys at the very top here. What are they doing? They are staying right between this Venn diagram, like I talked about. So I think, as a start, giving some more leeway here should help. Alright, this is Wanderer. I think it is. I think it seems fine so far, but I bet if we find another one of those, what's it called? Like very close together platforms, we probably will see a lot of the same. No, that seemed pretty good to me. Let's go to Woods 2. See if we see similar good distribution. So yeah, it looks like the other idea. It looks like just letting them, giving them a longer grace period where they can stray, and a longer grace period between. It's not even just straying; it's also recognizing you've entered a circle, like you made it back. Because that was the source of the Venn diagram problem, right? You probably were like, oh, I made it into 0. Oh, I made it into 1. 0, 1, 0, 1, back and forth. But with a few more seconds of wander, maybe you can stay in 0, or maybe you'll be further out of 1. You won't go right back into 1, which will give you a sort of a more varied movement vector. Yeah, I mean, I thought this wasn't going to work. Like, I was already in the middle of talking about, oh, I'm going to need to add a 3rd anchor. But I do think this is it. Oh, we already won. That was 2 levels. Let me run through it a couple times. Because something like this that's like a statistic. Oh, these chickens that stay still in the very beginning, that's no good. We're going to fix that. We're also going to fix, I think another way I can break them up is rolling a random value for their timer initially. And spreading out that spawn curve more. Because the problem with them all spawning in the same instant is that large sets of them that pick like an acceptable wander movement direction will be on the exact same timer. Eventually, they should be able to straight... Well, why are there no guys at the top? Like one guy? This doesn't... We might need to review that floor. That might not be right. Because I'm seeing... The only thing that is giving me pause here is I'm seeing a bit more guys in the beginning and in the middle than I would expect. It seems like the spawn curve is being inverted. I guess there's a small chance that just floating. No, I mean it worked out this time. Let me run through one more set of 2 levels. Oops, messed that up. Ouch. I'll let him get kind of up into the platform, but he eventually corrects himself. If I could add separation, I think that would be the sort of the ultimate. And if I'm only rolling it once every 3 seconds and I'm using random functions on the timer to stagger it, and I think maybe I can afford to do a raycast. Let's try and implement separate. Well, let's first start with those random things we talked about. So that means here in setup bounds, we want to say, we already checked this. So if we say if we're within an anchor, determine movement now. Or, yes, determine movement. Well, set your wander timer to your wander frequency plus 1.1f. So it forces you to roll some movement and then set your wander timer to random between 0 and the wander frequency. If you're not, then, well, I guess in either case, set your distance check timer to random, not range, between 0 and k distance checks frequency. Anything else? Okay, that's the random stuff. Now let's see if we can add basic separation. Where we say raycast or circlecast, physics 2D, circlecast from transform.position in a, I don't know, 0, a 1 radius and no direction. I think it gets you the closest hit, so. If you hit someone within your buddy circle instead of picking a just purely random direction, what you're going to do is move in the opposite direction of that other object. Oh, do I need... If these don't have rigid bodies, is it going to let me raycast against them? I think it might not. Can you raycast against triggers? Well, apparently raycasts do not ignore triggers by default. Well, that's what I want in this case. So yeah, it's this would be the target vector, other minus self, and then if you flip it, it's running away from the target, and it also, let's normalize it. See if we notice a declumping effect. Oh, why are these guys standing still though? What's going on with that? Are they hitting themselves? Maybe? I don't think this is right. Yeah, it's always just gonna give myself. Trying to think of a way around that. I think I don't worry about it for now and leave separation as a separate thing. Okay, yeah. That was the source of their, that was the source of their being stopped. So we can fix that hopefully and get separation back, but that's not something I'm going to target for today. Because I do want to look at this lerp thing and look at the frequency curve. I don't see an obvious problem with this. It just might be that let's maybe increase this a bit. I guess it's not 30, it would be 22.5. But we don't want this bracket to bear the cost. I think we want to pull out of this bracket. So let's actually increase this, I think. And then, yeah, we take 5 out of here. So this has to go to 35. Yeah. So this is 1-to-1. This is less than 1-to-1. Okay, no, this is not what we want. In fact, how we had it before, I think might be have to be how we have it. What if we 2.5 and 37.5? Is that enough? It would be 22.5 over 25. This basically represents a density, so it's a density of 0.9. And then a 37.5 over 40. 93. Okay, so yeah, it needs to increase, you know? So this is fine. So this should have less in the beginning, and also just stretched out a little bit more while keeping the same idea where there's a higher density towards the end. But it's only a slightly higher density. Oh, I got blasted. Oh, see, this is the type of thing that separation could fix. Should never be blasting together like that. We are going to figure out separation eventually. No, we could do. What if we just gave them an invisible bumper that only collides with other bumpers, but it does have actual collision? Oh, that's something I can try in like 5 seconds. Well, 5 seconds, it's an exaggeration, but. So we go to layers, let's add a new layer, call it enemy bumper. We go to build project settings, physics 2D, and our new enemy bumper. It's not in here. Why is that? Oh, it's up here? Yeah. Only collides with enemy bumper, which I guess is this one. This one? Yeah. Only collides with itself. I want to make sure it's not accidentally colliding with anything else. Yeah, it's not. Okay. And then we go to our chicken. We add an empty object, call it bumper. Add a collider 2D, circle collider 2D. Let's make sure it's an appropriate size. Sure. It's not a trigger, but it is an enemy bumper. And since I gave it to the chicken prefab, I gave it to every chicken. No, it's not doing anything. I can see there. I guess I have to give it a rigid body. Such a kinematic rigid body. Yeah, see, I think no, they're still colliding. Let me pause. Let's see if we can understand why. Dang it, I thought this would be quick and easy. I didn't know if it would necessarily work properly, but. His bumper, it seems like, absolutely is in this other guy's bumper. So why does it not care? Do I need to set this? No, it does nothing. Oh, I guess the transform-based movement just doesn't care. It's probably like forever overriding it. I guess what we can check is if we disable this guy's movement or set his movement speed to 0, what happens? Does he get bumped? Not really. What's the deal? Huh. I guess, does kinematic not get collision by default? That's the last thing I can check real quick here. Maybe? No, those guys are still overlapping. I truly do not. That's such a bump. Oh, wait. Aha! Okay, so now it's getting collision, but who cares? Because it's a child. That's yeah, so it's moving, it's bumping, but the parent chicken is not. So what if we try moving that to the parent? And then we can't have this object anymore. And we won't set them to enemy bottom world, we'll set them to enemy bumper, this object only. Paste this other component. Alright, let's see, does that get us where we want? Yeah, I think so. They get in like the direction where they would bump each other, and instead they're not. Sometimes they get, yeah, that moving against each other is not great. I don't love that. But I think I prefer it. Yeah, I'm gonna say, well, let's jump through, see if we still feel that way. But I'm gonna say it's preferable for now. Oh, these bees are definitely too aggressive. I think separation would still be better, but this is a good, maybe, quick fix starting point. Right. Instead of preventing them from smashing into each, or instead of like making it so they physically can smash into each other, it's better to just control their movement such that they never would smash into each other in the first place. But the latter is more involved. Alright, I think we can call that done. Well, unfortunately, we did not get on to the next thing. I probably gotta call, yeah, 8:55. Probably a good time to call it here. Just a little slow going, I think. We got those one-way platforms fixed relatively quickly. I guess we spent a long amount of time testing that, like trying to confirm on a handful of different platform layouts that the values are still like roughly decent looking. I guess I should remove that nudge debug printing thing. Probably too many chickens in this. That's an artifact from when they were like the only threat. We can probably tone down the chickens. I guess I can, didn't get to it, but it's probably be the next thing I do, like starting tomorrow. The idea for the bug is basically, we take the chicken and we just add a small component to alternate between a fast and a slow move speed. So it's still the same anchored random wander type behavior, but it will be a bit less predictable, which in theory should make it a bit more dangerous. Alright, let's see what boss we got. Oops, got hit. I don't know if I can beat the Burrower, 6 life. Oh, it's the Burrower. Oh, something crashed. What happened? Oh, it's that same weird wise issue. I think I've seen weird wise issues like that, and then it loads anyway. It's an unloading thing, I think. Something from where I'm going from level music to boss music is not being handled correctly. That's okay, it lets me keep playing at least. Oh, I didn't need to get hit there. Got him. Okay. Ooh, wasn't paying attention. Ooh, wasn't paying attention again. Oh, and now it's the harder pattern. I might die. 1, 2, and there's the opening. Alright, we got him. One more hit. Oh, that is impossible. That's... I guess I was in the wrong place. But, that's okay. That's okay. Spent most of the time in woods. I don't think, we need to necessarily make sure we play past back through there. So I'm just gonna say also hit this crash in meadow to burrow. And then let's just comment out our debug drawing this. And wasn't there debug printing somewhere? Nudge. Yeah. Get rid of this debug printing. Okay. Alright. So, looking forward, I'm gonna finish flushing out the woods. Refine the lighting. The lighting and glow both are a bit sloppy right now. So we're gonna refine those. Once the lighting and glow are refined, the next visual task is gonna be the UI. I'm starting to be like pretty happy with the look of the actual main game, with those exception of those lighting issues. But you know, I find myself whenever I'm grabbing a screenshot, I just crop it to the main game because the rest of the UI just seems so crappy in comparison. So I'd like to catch that up a bit so it's actually like enhancing, adding to the overall experience rather than detracting from it. Not really like super hype on giving playable estimate dates because I like keep missing them. I feel like it's that story they teach you in school about limits, where you walk half the distance every day, where even though it seems like you're walking a big distance, you know, it's just it feels like the goal is also walking away from you. I guess it's some degree of like feature creep. I mean, feature might give the wrong impression that like I'm not adding like a new game mode or anything like that, but like, oh, I had a glow bush to be my lighting object. I had glow mushrooms, and then it's not just the glow mushroom. I want to have like a nice little animation so it looks like the glow bush is putting off sparkles at a particle effect. And then now I want to my glow mushroom. I want to give it 3 different layers so I can properly tint the colors and still get that stuff like that. It's just like I set out to do a thing, and then I want to polish it up more, and so the thing just grows to much larger than I originally anticipated. Um, that being said, that was the whole preface of I don't want 100% promises, but uh, you can see I'm already pretty close. The woods are almost there. They just need the rest of those platforms and the spider boss. Um, and on top of that, I got some time off work next week. So if I just basically treat this like a job, working 8+ hours through all of next week, I think that should, if that doesn't get me to ready for playable, it should get me very, very close. So yeah, keep an keep an eye out. I guess I'll definitely be talking about it in the social media. I'm Quiet Ben Zen on all the social medias: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, itch.io. Probably going to be where the game is posted. I'm going to post it to Newgrounds as well if it has the appropriate audio support. So yeah, playable soon, but that's a soon TM like from Blizzard, where it could mean 1 week, it could mean like 5 weeks. That's the upper end I can possibly imagine. It should actually be soon. But we'll see. Hopefully the path doesn't keep stretching out away for me. But everything I'm doing is making it a little bit better, so it's not the end of the world.